if you're listening to this, you probably know the feeling. It's that that subtle, constant pressure of modern parenthood.
Oh, absolutely.
That weight of trying to raise secure, healthy kids in a world that just feels, well, chaotic.
Right. You're trying to be the steady anchor, but you feel like you're the one being tossed around by the storm.
Exactly.
And you're not alone in that. I mean, it's not just a feeling, it's a recognized public health issue. The 2024 U.S. Surgeon General's advisory on this was pretty sobering. It found that nearly half, I think it was 48% of parents, describe feeling completely overwhelmed.
48%.
Right. And that feeling, that chaos, it directly impacts a child's foundational sense of security.
It does. And I think the natural response for so many of us is to look for these big external solutions, new tutors, better schools, expensive therapies.
Right, the big fixes.
But what if the most powerful tool, the real resilience builder, is already right there, hidden in the quietest part of your day? We're talking about the bedtime routine.
That's precisely what we're going to dig into. The sources we've looked at suggest that a simple, intentional whisper before sleep isn't just comfort. It's a biological tool.
A biological tool?
You are actively forging what we're calling biological armor in your child's brain. You're creating a kind of neurological insurance against future stress.
Okay, let's unpack that, because we're moving beyond just, motivational posters here. We are talking about physically changing the brain. How does saying a few nice words actually translate into hard science?
Well, the key is understanding that when you engage in this kind of intentional affirmation, you're sort of bypassing the conscious mind, the I think part, and you're speaking directly to the brain's priority setting system.
They're programming it.
You are. You're programming the child to default to self-worth when life throws things at them. And this whole idea hinges on something called self-affirmation theory.
Self-affirmation theory. I know this comes from research at places like the University of Pennsylvania. It sounds powerful, but what's the basic idea behind it?
The core concept is that we are all, as humans, fundamentally motivated to see ourselves in a positive light, to see ourselves as competent.
Okay, that makes sense.
So when that positive view is threatened by, say, a failure at school or criticism or even just chronic anxiety, our brains dedicate a huge amount of energy to defending our competence. It's a threat response.
So that's the default defensive reaction.
Right.
How do these nightly affirmations manage to override that fear response and reinforce the positive view instead?
By consistently, and this is important, rhythmically reinforcing that positive core self, you are kind, you are capable, you are loved, you're triggering a physical mechanism.
But not just a feeling.
Not just a feeling. You are physically activating the ventral striatum.
The ventral striatum. Okay, we've called it the reward center before, which I think feels a bit simplistic for this deep dive. What does it actually do in terms of motivated behavior and building that long-term resilience?
That's a great distinction. It's really better to think of it as the brain's motivation engine.
The engine, I like that.
The ventral striatum is what links our actions and experiences with positive reinforcement. So when you stimulate it over and over with affirmation, you are literally teaching your child's brain that self-worth is a reward worth chasing.
Ah, so you're creating a dopamine loop.
You're creating a feedback loop that trains the brain to prioritize its own internal stability over whatever is happening on the outside.
So instead of the brain having to work so hard to defend itself after a threat, you're proactively programming it to see its own worth as the biggest prize.
Exactly, and this is huge, especially when we talk about neurodiversity affirming care.
How so?
Well, children who are neurodivergent often face more external friction, right? Social norms, school systems, they can clash with their internal reality. Their sense of self can take a beating from the outside world.
So their brain is constantly in that defensive mode.
It can be, yes.
Yeah.
But if they have this strong internal core of self-worth that's been neurologically reinforced night after night, they're just better equipped.
To handle that friction.
Precisely. That internal resilience becomes the default setting because the ventral striatum has been programmed to see it as the most rewarding path.
This sounds amazing, but I do have a question. How do you make sure this isn't just empty praise? Where's the line between healthy affirmation and creating a child who have an unrealistic view of their own abilities?
That is a really powerful and necessary question. The research is clear on this. The key is not to affirm perfection or specific results like you got a perfect score.
Right.
It's about affirming intrinsic qualities, things like effort, kindness, their inner light. You affirm the person, not the performance. And the ritual itself, the physical presence, provides the grounding. Which brings us to what happens when that's missing.
You're talking about the 2025 ResearchGate study on parental absenteeism.
Yes, and let's be clear, this wasn't just about parents who were physically absent. It was a study that looked at the inconsistency of intentional, focused interaction. And they found that when the parent's role as that steady anchor was inconsistent because of distraction, stress, whatever, the impact was immediate and measurable.
What did they measure? What plummeted?
Two main things: the child's ability to self-regulate their emotions and the stability of their social identity.
Wow.
When the parent is inconsistent, the child is left without that reliable mirror to confirm their own positive identity. So you see higher rates of anxiety, more trouble with social challenges. The child's psychological immune system just doesn't develop as robustly.
Oh, let's look at two examples that really show this. One ancient and one modern, but both doing the same deep wiring. Let's start with that memory from author Shankari Chandran about her father's ritual.
It's such a beautiful example of focused, rhythmic intention. Her father would sit with his children by a flickering lamp, and they would just focus on their breath and repeat a mantra.
And the mantra was built around 2 syllables.
Yes. Breathe in, so. Hold. Breathe out, hum.
Sohum. What does that mean?
It translates roughly to, I am that.
I am that.
It's this recognition of intrinsic universal worth. It teaches the child, through rhythm, not lecture, that they are a piece of a bigger divine energy.
That's incredibly powerful. I can also see a parent who's juggling 3 kids and a job, hearing that and just feeling defeated, like they have to recreate some ancient ceremony.
And that's exactly why the second case study is so important and so reassuring, because the mechanism, that activation of the ventral striatum, can be triggered with the absolute simplest language. Look at Jenna Bush Hager's approach.
Right.
Her ritual is just leaning over her children's beds and whispering, "You are loved, you are loved, you are loved." The setting is totally different, but the neurological outcome is the same because the key ingredients are there.
The common denominator. So whether it's a sacred mantra or a simple promise, the power is in the rhythm, that rhythmic shield.
That repetition, that rhythm right before sleep, it's key. It bypasses the busy conscious mind and speaks directly to the subconscious. It infuses that goodness deep into their mental architecture. If their brain is programmed to default to self-worth, they're just far less likely to be derailed by failure or criticism.
Which brings us to the action plan. We've got the science, we've seen the examples. So how do we translate this for busy parents? How do we build this cathedral of calm?
Well, you have to start by creating the sacred space, and that requires radical presence.
So step 1, commit to screen-free time, which, let's be honest, is often the hardest part.
It is, but it's non-negotiable. Your child's brain is like an exquisite mirror. If your eyes are on a screen, if you're multitasking, they sense it. They know the affirmation isn't fully authentic. You have to put the phone away to create that genuine connection.
That presence is the safety signal. If they see you're calm and fully there, their nervous system will start to mirror it.
Yes, and from there, step 2 is the method. Use rhythmic mantras. And again, you don't need to stress about finding the perfect words.
The rhythm is the delivery vehicle. What's happening in the brain when it hears that repetition?
The repetition, especially in a quiet, calm environment, helps soothe the brain's alarm system, the amygdala. Once the amygdala is calm, that positive message, delivered rhythmically, can actually be processed by the ventral striatum. The repetition locks it in. It moves it from just a passing thought to a real neurological pathway.
So the repetition isn't just for memory, it's for neurological absorption.
Precisely. And that leads to the final and maybe most important step. Step 3, infuse that goodness. This is about the long-term payoff.
Okay, what do you mean by infuse that goodness as a long-term strategy?
The goal here is to build a profound sense of inner peace, to give them the emotional confidence to cross all the shaky bridges they're going to encounter in life. You're moving beyond just calming them down for the night. You're transforming their inner narrative. You are providing neurological insurance.
Let's define that payoff really clearly. If a child faces a major stressor or even a trauma down the road, how does this nightly pre-programming actually protect them?
By repeatedly activating their reward system in a state of calm and connection, you're making self-love their brain's default setting.
So when something bad happens,
When they fail an exam or have a friendship fall apart, their brain doesn't immediately spiral into fear and self-criticism. Instead, those established neurological pathways kick in and redirect them back to that stable, affirming reservoir that you've been building night after night.
it's truly proactive. It's like building the parachute long before they ever have to jump out of the plane.
It's ensuring their response to hardship is anchored in self-compassion, not self-defeat. The few intentional minutes you spend tonight are a defense mechanism that can last a lifetime.
So as we wrap this up, let's come back to that metaphor. Think of your child's mind as a young garden. We know the storms are coming. The stress of the world, the rain.
Yeah.
You can't stop it.
But those nightly mantras, those quiet moments of rhythm and connection, they're the nutrients. They build the deep root system. Your whispers are what ensures those roots hold firm no matter how hard the wind blows.
And here's the most amazing part. When that wind does come, that deep-rooted tree won't just survive. Because of the grounding you provided, it will have the strength to absorb and drink from the very rain that tried to knock it down.
It transforms the stress into the sustenance it needs to grow stronger.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. What's one small commitment to presence you could make tonight to start laying that bedrock of neurological insurance, knowing the lifelong resilience you are actively building?